Welcome to 2020.
Welcome to the latest episode of the Unplugged Health series. Take 1, 2, as always, unplugged. So, we'll get planned because I know you messaged me earlier and I was in a bit of a rush. Confirmed that we're doing the podcast tonight, and I was like, right, I'll just follow your lead. So,
well, a topic that's come up a couple of times, and I've done a live in my group actually today, talking about how it's not just guys, but I framed it as guys do it, and the people I've spoke about has been wives talking about their husbands, and how we set our goals high, but we usually put too much on our plate, and we look at what we used to do and think we're still going to do it. And I used to be the worst culprit of it when I first started coming here or to see you for treatment was like 2008 or 9 or something, and I was competing in bodybuilding, and my whole life was just bodybuilding. I think I was working in gyms then. So literally, like, I would train for an hour, I'd do an hour's cardio or something crazy like that, and then I would train clients, and everything was just built around that. So then a few years later, in a relationship, working in the corporate world, wanting to get into bodybuilding style shape, I then ended up saying, I'll just do 12, 14 weeks of what I'd done on a competition diet and that sort of training. But it doesn't work like that. And I see many people that are adults now that used to be an athlete, or they were a real good football player in their early 20s, or a real good runner, and they've had injury, or now they've got kids and built their business up, or they're just really busy. And then they try to say, I'm going to do what I've done then. I'm going to start running like that, or I'm going to go to the gym 5 times a week. And then they get really frustrated because they can't keep it up. So instead of doing everything, they do nothing. And it's actually a psychological aspect that if we put so much on our plate that we're going to do this diet, we're going to follow this supplement plan, we're going to do this training methodology, it makes it okay to fail subconsciously, because like you wouldn't expect someone with that busy lifestyle. So it's okay. Like, I'm too busy for that. Rather than doing the bare minimum and building it up from there. And starting what's doable and then going from there. It's a tough one, isn't it? Because I think none of us, especially if you've played sport or you competed at a high level, I don't think you really lose that feeling of competition or that drive to get success, whatever success is. Doesn't. It's one of the reasons they're that successful in business, right?
And so I think we use that a lot to drive us forwards. But I think we get frustrated is that we underestimate the effects of the other responsibilities, either with family or with relationships or other interests. And so then everything else either gets in the way. So we get frustrated. So either we frustrate and fail, or we frustrate and push harder. And by pushing harder, we just get more anxious, more stressed, more frustrated.
It's a vicious circle. More stress on the body, more inflammation, everything like that.
I think also the other thing is that not to use an age game as in the age element of how old you are, but I see it as that you have different phases of your life. So my oldest son now is 20, and he has, in many ways, he doesn't realize it, the most amount of spare time, the most amount of spare income, and the least amount of responsibility. Mm-hmm. But you don't know it at that time. No. So you have a certain element of lifestyle, or you can put time and energy into either training or sport or even studying or so. And then you get to your midlife element where you've got more added responsibilities, but you still have that same mindset. You're still young at heart and in thought process. So you go, I'm going to engage in a new training thing, or I'm going to get fit, or a new business adventure or something. And so you go into that same level of enthusiasm, but we underestimate the other responsibilities, which are energy consuming and time consuming. So we then kind of under pressure. And so we get stressed about it, and then we either stress that we fail, or we go, I can't do it.
And this is a discussion, as you know, I work with many executive directors, business owners, whatever we want to call ourselves, that are super busy. And the amount of times I've had people say to me, I'm too busy to work out or to focus on my health. And when I've actually worked with some of like people that have got like 4 or 5 jobs, people that are really, really busy, got 2-3 kids, and they're implementing these things, it makes me realize that a lot of us, it's a psychological thing going on.
Yeah.
And it's a commitment side of things. It's not a time problem, it's a time management problem.
But you also think that the perception is to do that takes a lot of work, a lot more time, and those are the things that I already feel that I'm pressured on. Where
Time
something
poor,
as
money
simple as like, let's look at the diet and clean up the diet a bit. It doesn't actually have to take up a lot of time. It's just making different choices and making having a little bit more awareness and forward planning. It doesn't take, I've got to go to the gym for 2 hours 4 times a week, and now where am I going to find that time? My family's already telling me I'm, at late at night at work and this and this. So some of the things don't actually take a lot of time or energy. They just need a bit of a different
as well.
Yeah, they needed just a different framing and looking at it, saying, okay, so instead of having breakfast on the run, I can prepare that. So without really making any big changes in time and effort, I'm eating healthier. Or I can do this, and make sure that I'm getting to bed at a better time to sleep. And so then, or what other things am I actually filling the day with that don't serve me? So I had a patient the other day who was frustrated because her husband is working from home within financial services, and it works well for him because he's now freed up some time with travel, he's at home, he's working. But his de-stressor time is then gaming. Mm-hmm. But his sleep is disrupted. He's more stressed and all sorts. But to him, gaming was time out. But actually, we know physiologically, especially that it's late at night, and that it's actually more stressful.
Yeah.
So his time out.
Especially
so when you realise
by an 8-year-old.
Yeah, who's in the other side of the world.
Yeah, and you can't slap them.
And so he's then like, well, I want to get fit and healthy and stronger. But his perception is that he would lose his time out and his de-stressing time. But actually it's not delivering. So sometimes I was also realizing that some of the things I have in place don't actually serve the purpose.
It's admitting that stuff as well. And I think one of the big things as well that a lot of people don't admit doesn't serve them is alcohol.
Yeah.
A lot of times, because that's a big de-stressor, right? But it's the reliance on it. So it's having it to enjoy rather than need it. And I've had clients in the past that like their progress has stalled because they're not prepared to cut down on the alcohol a little bit or have it over a certain period of time, and they don't realize the actual impact that has.
Yeah, and that's one of the classic ones of realizing that the perceived benefit is actually not met. So very often when they change that, they realize that, but at the time they're like, well, what do you mean? I had this is probably a couple of years ago, a chat with one of the guys I periodically play golf with, and he turned around and he said, out of the blue, we were just chatting, he goes, I get the impression that you're one of those who can go out, socialize, and go out for a meal with groups but not drink. And I went, yeah. I said, I enjoy a beer, but if I've got work the next day or something on, the key is to go and socialise or hook up with friends, I'm quite happy to go out and have a drink. And he turned around and said, I can't do that. He said, socialising to me involves drinking. And I was like, it's quite an interesting concept, isn't it? He goes, yeah. He says, I'm really trying to change that because I know that I drink too much. But his at least he had that understanding. But to him, socialising meant alcohol. Socialising meant drinking, and drinking excess. Not just having a glass with a glass of wine with a meal. It was drinking and socialising are together. You can't separate. He had no perception what that meant.
It's interesting that,
and he's in his mid-50s.
One of the things that, as guys, and this is ironic that yesterday was International Women's Day, like how many of our wives have probably said something behind their back that we're not doing the things that they would like us to do as such, like we've taken care of their health. I'm pretty certain that Laura, my wife, has said that over the years at some point when I was really out of shape. he's not doing the things that he says. And the amount of wives I've spoken to that have said, I wish my husband would do this. I wish he would take care. Like, he finishes work at 9 o'clock, but then goes to sleep at 9:15. So we have our 15 minutes, or I wish he'd cut down on his drink. And the stubbornness of being a guy is like, I don't want to hear that from my wife to tell me to do it.
Yeah,
but what is the trigger to actually make us do it?
My wife and I, you know the details, and then from the last good number of years, from various reasons of a huge amount of stress, and aware that takes its toll. So we've had to have an honest conversation, and she said the same. It's like, I'm aware that this has an effect on you down the line. So we've had to really look and try and at least acknowledge and understand that happens, because it takes its toll through time.
I think as well with guys, like the vulnerability of actually talking about it. I've pushed my my Facebook group, where it's just a private Facebook group that, I mean, there's like 500 people in there, but I've kind of resurrected it. So actually pushing people to get there. And I was speaking to my marketing team, and if I was targeting to work with women, the amount of people that click on the Facebook ad and then join the group is about 80-90%. With guys, it's between 20 and 50%, because we don't always reach out and ask for help with these things, and we have our coping mechanisms. Like, I play PlayStation, love PlayStation, and there used to be times when I used to play it till really late, and now it is a recharge, but it's not very like a long while I get on that.
So
I know my wife Laura appreciates that I use that time to chill out, and luckily she likes looking at some of the stories and stuff like that, which is always good. But or seeing me getting frustrated on some of the harder games.
So I have an observation and a theory based just on the perception of that concept of male and female, of how they approach talk therapy within their social groups, and that element is that, so and this is only, I'm not saying this is right, this is only my observation and my thoughts. There's a lot is that men feel that women talk too much amongst everything together, and women feel that men should talk more. And my observation from a male's perspective is that I agree that men should be more comfortable at seeking and talking, and especially stresses and that, but men are very selective of who they do that. It's not an open discussion. So if I meet with a group of friends and we're standing around, I won't suddenly bring up a topic of, hey, listen, I'm having some problems with this and that. What do you? And I need to talk about this and get it off my chest. Men don't use it as a platform. However, it's not to say that men shouldn't talk and express it, but they need the cave element. The cave is the sanctuary. It's confidential and it's within confidence. So men tend to do that quite happily with the one-to-one, with a friend or something who they have confidence in, not in a group session with a whole lot of people, unless they've all come together with the same concept. Whereas women will be quite happily to use everyone as a sounding board. Yeah. And men are Mr. Fix-It. So I know if I say to a couple of friends, I know a couple of friends will turn around and say, you know what you need to do? This. And it's like,
you need to go out and get wasted.
I don't want to be told what to do. I just need to. And so
I'll happily do that with my wife, though. When she's got a problem, I'll then go into being a coach.
Yeah,
and being a man.
I'm as guilty as that.
Yeah,
because you suddenly click in. And so we got to think, I just got to listen. But it doesn't come naturally for a male in a group setting to ask. So whether it's, historically judgment or weakness or so, but men are getting better at that. They just need to be more comfortable, and sometimes actually easier to do that with a stranger or in a therapy element, as that this isn't a weakness, but I'm using you as help. So I don't need to do it in my social group. I don't need to change those parameters, but I still need to get that benefit. It's a quite interesting dynamic.
Yeah,
because the classic isn't it? Men want women to be more like men, and women more like men, and so they're all men are from Mars, women from Venus. We need to understand each other's differences, and talk in confidence, and share those stresses. I think it's really, really important. But it's changing. Men are getting better with that.
Yeah, I think there's a lot more openness for guys to talk more.
Well, when you look at the stats of the levels of suicide under the age of 50, something's not working.
Is it like 70-80% men?
It's the highest. It's the highest killer in men under 50. It's suicide. That's horrendous.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I think if anything come from this, that guys like reach out and speak to people, like, and there's plenty of, there are groups around, like there's a group that meets up called Bro Society, and at first I didn't want to go as much because there's like younger guys there. I'm in my 30s, there's guys in their 20s, but there's guys that go in their 40s and 50s there that just go and chat. And all through lockdown, because of the restrictions, you're allowed up to 15 people at once for mental health support groups. So we were still meeting up in person, and that was a powerful thing.
Yeah,
just to go there, because you hold, like, we have like a group circle as such, like all in chairs. At the moment, I think we're meeting at Erpingham House, and like if anyone wants details of it, then drop me a message or ask Roger, and he'll give you my details to drop me a message. Like, they've got like an object, like a crystal or something, or just whatever, just so that person's got that, everyone listens.
Yeah.
It's so hard not to go into coach mode, just all guys, and then being a coach, but just listen, and you don't realise the things that you want to chat about and get off your chest, and it's really powerful just to talk about that stuff. Really powerful.
Yeah, it is. As I said, it is changing, but the dynamics of it needs to be what that person feels comfortable with.
Yeah.
So you talking and sharing that, and as I said, your experience of that will be other people who are high performers and successful don't have it all together all the time. You know, it's a big it's a big challenge, and things are changing, but need to continue to change.
And also listen. That's
well, men traditionally don't.
That's a skill I want to work on more. I do it well with clients, I believe. And it's something I work on, like waiting for a client to finish, then going into like how can I help or how can I respond and things like that. And it's something I've been taught in the coaching methodologies. But when it comes to friends, wife, family, boom, straight into coach mode. And then not into the listening coach mode, as into the I want to fix things. So
and sometimes taking the time and then listening, you actually hear what the problem is rather than what they just saying.
Yeah.
Or you jump ahead, don't you? And go like, I know what the problem is. And then
there's nothing more frustrating when someone finishes your sentences with something else.
Yeah. Or says, well, you know what you need to do.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, no, I don't, because
I wouldn't have said it.
I wouldn't be in this situation before. So how do we get around that element of success and reaching goals and achieving things without overloading and burning out, or kind of almost setting up to fail because it's not going to be achievable?
You do it one day at a time, like my book, The One Day Body Upgrade.
There you go.
But do it literally just do small things that you can implement and stack success on top of success. So there's that old adage.
Yeah, I like that, stack on success on top of success, because when you have the perception that someone else has got is the complete article, it suggests that person just has it. And rather that they haven't worked on it, they haven't failed, they haven't built things, they've also things that haven't worked out and had to change things. It is very much a process. I like that.
I think as well, like
stacking on, it's a bit like the layers of the onion we use.
Why do you want to do something? Like I've had clients before where I can see that there's a problem with gluten or something, so we said first off we'll just cut out bread, and then I just had a little bit. Well, that isn't going to work. You can't be 90% pregnant. You either are or you aren't.
Yeah.
So if gluten's having an issue, you cut it out or not. But we'll start with bread, and you can see they're going to get the results. And I just like, why do you want this? And it's okay not to actually want to improve your health right now. And I think we frustrate ourselves more and more if we try and improve our health when it's not the right time. But it's taking responsibility.
But do you think also we live in a world of quick fix and instant gratification?
Quick fix, patience.
So it's like, okay, so what I'll do is I'll drop gluten, and then pasta. I'll go low carb, and then I need to go to the gym, so I'm going to sign up, and I'll go 4 times a week. And then alcohol's not a very good thing, so I'm just going to drink water.
Everything,
and
dry January,
and
everything.
And then it's like, how are you doing? 6-8 weeks down the line, it's like, I feel like crap. And it's like, well, of course you're going to. You just like try to strip out the car, reconfigure the whole thing, stick it all back together, and then into the new F1. Well, it's kind of what the F1 guys have done, haven't they?
But they're professionals.
But they've been working on the new car for a couple of years.
But also,
so that's the thing. And then there's testing and what works and doesn't work. It's. I think we look at people who seem to have it all and who seem to be successful, that they've got it. We've just got to do that all straight away.
But also, remember that the longest way to do something is a quick fix. In 9 times out of 10, 90% of the time, the thing that takes the longest is the quick fix, because we do it over and over and over and over again, and we get more frustrated. I had a guy come to me last week, and he'd seen the results that one of his friends got. A person I used to work with, he's a client of mine, and he saw a post that I put out that's saying that working with guys, looking for 3 or 4 guys that really want to change things, not for someone that isn't ready to implement it. And he's like, all right, I'm ready, I want this, I want to drop 3 stone. Why do you want to drop 3 stone? Let's get on a call. And then I said, are you sleeping right? No, I'm waking up groggy, I'm feeling tired, and I think he was waking through the night as well. How's your energy levels? Oh, they're really, really bad. Okay, well, let's get on a call and we'll chat through it. And I was going to talk through the energy stuff with him. Then he spoke to the guy, and he's like, don't want to pay that much at the time. So I don't really want to spend that amount at the moment. Okay, that's fine. I'm just going to join the gym. And I said, like, the gym isn't what you need right now. You're stressed out. You've got no routine. And
that's what I'm saying. The gym becomes an additional stress, additional energy sapper.
And that's just a vicious circle to fall off.
And so,
and it's okay to admit the priorities at that time, because it's not ready to pay that much. That's fine. I would try this and that, which is free. And then I said to him, I've got other levels of package as well. And it was the same time as well that he'd just picked up his brand new car. So it's just a priority thing. And I think it takes a lot of strength to admit that it's not a priority.
But sometimes also the investment, don't you think that sometimes the investment financially sometimes is made easier, and they can see that that's worthwhile spending money once they make 1 or 2 basic changes, start shifting. So that element of sleep, the basics. For a lot of people, if you get so with a lot of our functional clients, a lot of people. So I had one patient the other day said, "Oh, do you do the Dutch test, and can you do these tests and this test?" I said, "Yeah, I can order them." I said, "But I can very quickly get you to spend £800-900 on getting some tests." But the key of the test is, why do you want the test?
Yeah.
Oh, I think there's some hormonal issues. I think there's this. I said, okay, cool. First thing we do is we look at your lifestyle and understand where you're at, because some of the things that can make the biggest impact are free and easy. Mm-hmm. Then, if we feel we don't want to guess, we test.
Yep.
And I said, I'd rather spend half the amount of money on what I think you need than throw a whole lot out. And so sometimes when people then make some of the basic changes and they see the enthuse, they want to invest that bit more, but it's not as big an investment.
Yeah, and this is where we're in a group of entrepreneurs and a mastermind I'm part of, and we go down and see a lot of the guys every month in London. And it came up in the chat, and this person was talking about get some testing done. I said, well, what do you want it for? I don't know, I just want to get like an MOT done. Right, fair enough. And then someone said, Ollie's doing his best not to pitch in here because it's a no pitch thing. I was like, I'm trying, but I could probably see a lot more than the test just from going through this questionnaire and that questionnaire and looking at symptoms. And a lot of people, like the amount of times that people were recommending different tests that cost like £200, £300, £400, £500 each at a time. And at the end of the day, when we have a test, we want to be able to retest to see what the difference is as well, right?
Well,
so
and also a lot of tests
end.
Don't give you the benefit or the information by themselves.
Yeah.
So very often they come with, if we're going to do that test, we need this test.
Yeah.
And if we do that, and so before lunch you've done 4 or 5 different tests, and they're not necessarily going to give you all the answers to change. So sometimes it's the wrong way around.
And you'll probably see it as well with functional clients, functional medicine clients, probably about 90% of them, I can see amazing results without any tests.
Yeah.
Now, but the odd one that will just stump you a bit and we need more information.
But that's what a test does.
Yeah.
It's the same as we use X-ray or an MRI. It's not that we don't need to X-ray and MRI every single person, but there becomes a clinical necessity saying the additional information I get will help, so we can either take your care to another level, or there's some things that are unexplained, so I need some additional information.
Exactly. Well, we've gone through quite a bit on that.
As always, unplugged.
Don't do too much. Do enough.
What was your statement? I wanted to finish off with that the shortest path, the longest
way to do something is with a quick fix. But it wasn't that, was it? It was stacking success.
No, I like the stacking. I wanted to finish with is that the longest.
If you want to take the longest route, go with a quick fix.
Start with a quick fix.
I think we need to word that right.
Yeah.
And then it can be a motto.
The longest route to success is starting with looking for a quick fix.
The quickest route to failure is a quick fix.
Along those lines.
Something like that.
As you can see, we're not taking the quick fix here, trying to figure that out. Thanks very much for joining us. As always, we're available for some feedback. Reach out, ask for help, and don't look for the quick fix. Take care.
Take care.
See you next time.